All right, we have a really fascinating setup for BMNR stock this week. On one hand, the company just dropped an absolute bombshell of an earnings report. I mean, a total game changer. But here's the twist. It's all happening during the US Thanksgiving holiday week. You know, a time that's notorious for thin trading and some seriously wild price swings. So the big question is, can this incredible news actually win out against a pretty treacherous holiday market?
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dig into those blockbuster earnings and see why they completely rewrote the story for this company. Then, we're going to map out the key price levels, the battleground where this is all going to be fought. From there, we'll walk through the day-by-day challenges of this holiday trading gauntlet. And finally, we have to talk about the ultimate wildcard that could just throw a wrench in everything: Bitcoin.
Okay, let's kick things off with the fundamentals, because this is where the story gets really, really interesting. And look, I can't overstate this. Last Friday's report wasn't just good. No, this was the kind of news that fundamentally changes a company's entire narrative from the ground up. So while the total profit is huge, this is the number that has big investors absolutely buzzing: over $13 in earnings per share. Now, to put that into perspective for you, just 6 months ago, analysts were predicting maybe half of that, if they were being optimistic. This isn't just a beat. This is a total blowout.
And here is the bottom line, literally: a net income of $328 million. Performance like this completely changes how you even value a company. All of a sudden, BMNR is playing in the same league as much larger, more established tech companies.
This quote really just nails it. This isn't just about one good quarter. It's about a fundamental shift. BMR is moving from being seen as a high-risk, speculative growth stock to a legitimate, major player that generates real, predictable cash. Which, brings up a really curious question. With all this cash flowing in, why on earth would you declare a dividend of just a single penny? It almost sounds like a joke, doesn't it? But it's actually a pretty brilliant strategic move.
See, that 1-cent dividend, it's not about the payout. It's all about the message it sends. First, it signals maturity and stability. Second, it's a financial rebrand, a way of saying, hey, we're not in that high-risk bucket anymore. And third, and this is huge, it opens the door to a whole new class of investors, like pension funds, that are often required to only invest in stocks that pay a dividend.
So you've got this incredible fundamental story. How does that translate to the actual stock price? Well, that brings us to the technicals. And during a quiet holiday week like this one, these specific price levels, they are everything. This is the battleground where buyers and sellers are about to go head-to-head. Now, the key thing to get here is that with fewer traders in the market, these psychological price points just get amplified. Small orders can cause massive moves, and you can bet that everyone who is trading will be watching these specific numbers like a hawk to see who's really in control. All right. Here are the lines in the sand for the week. The action is going to start right around $26.60, but the first real test, the big one, is at $26.77. If the buyers can smash through that wall, there's clear air to run. The ultimate prize for the bulls is way up there at $30.88. But look down here. If sellers push the price below that $26 support level, things could get ugly fast, especially if it triggers what we're calling the panic low at $24.33. A break there could put this whole amazing post-earnings rally in jeopardy. Okay, so now let's layer on probably the most important factor for this week, the calendar itself. We're heading into a short trading week because of the Thanksgiving holiday, and that means one thing for sure. Liquidity, the lifeblood of the market, is about to dry up. So here's the likely playbook for the week. Monday is going to be the big reaction day. You'll see the institutions digesting the news and really testing that first resistance level. Tuesday, things should calm down a bit, stabilization. Then comes Wednesday. A lot of traders are going to start taking profits off the table before they go in a long weekend, which could definitely cause a pullback. And Friday? It's a half day. Volume will be so thin, it'll feel like you're trading in an empty library.
And that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle. This is the biggest external risk, the thing that could change everything, the ultimate wildcard for BMNR, its deep, persistent connection to Bitcoin.
So what is a crypto proxy anyway? Well, it basically means that even with its own stellar earnings, the market still trades BNR almost like it's a stand-in for Bitcoin itself. It doesn't matter how good BNR's own news is, the price of Bitcoin has this powerful gravitational pull on the stock.
And this right here really captures the core conflict, the big tug of war. On one side, you've got BMNR's incredible internal strength. We're talking record income, new credibility.
But on the other side, you've got this constant pressure from Bitcoin, which acts like a drag chute, potentially capping the stock's upside, no matter how well the company itself is doing. And here's the kicker, and this is so crucial to remember this week. The stock market, it closes for Thanksgiving on Thursday, and it's a short day Friday. But the crypto markets, they are open 24/7. That means the biggest risk factor for BMNR is still live and moving, even when you can't actually trade the stock. So it all comes down to this one question for BMNR's future. The fundamentals are undeniably powerful. The company is actively trying to rebrand itself for a new class of investors. But is it finally enough? Is it enough to break free from Bitcoin's gravity and trade on its own incredible merits? Well, in this very quiet holiday week, the market is about to give us its answer.